So Unit 8, Lesson 2 is about a specific type of sequence, an arithmetic. All right, so I have two words up here that we have to understand the difference between, a series and a sequence. Well, an arithmetic sequence is numbers listed with commas between them. And arithmetic means to add. So an arithmetic sequence of numbers is where we add a common difference to the previous term to get to the next. So right here, this is pretty easy. We were adding 2 on each time, and then we can go on forever and ever. So that is our sequence. A series is simply to add up the sequence to a set spot. Since this goes on forever and ever, and we're constantly adding 2, we could never find what it all adds up to. But if you say, hey, I want you to find the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I want you to find the sum of the first 11 terms. We could do that. All right, so one of the things you're going to have to do is be able to write a formula that will generate certain terms of a sequence. So this is a very easy formula. And I know it looks like a bunch of these A's and these subs, but it's very easy to understand. Again, I say this means any term. So to find any term, we take the first term and we add on the common difference. Well, how many common differences do we have to add on? One less than the term we're looking for. All right, so let's use this example right here. The formula would be to find any term, I start with the first term, which is 3, and to 3, I'm adding on 2 n minus 1 times. If I clean that up, I will get 3 plus 2n minus 2. A sub n is 3 minus 2 is 1, so this is 2n plus 1. Well, I know I had 11 terms up here, so I'm going to check this. All right, it says to find the 11th term, I double 11 and add 1. Well, that's 22 plus 1 more. Well, that's right. The 11th term is 23. Now, it makes perfect sense because let's pick our first term. And let's pick, there's my dog drinking water. Okay, you done, Poppy? All right, good. So see what I did with my first term? If I took the number 3 and I added on 1, 2, 3, 4 differences. I only had to add on 4. Well, let's write that the right way. I added on 2, that was my common difference, 4 times. 8 plus 3 is 11, because I never have to count the first spot. So now, what if I wanted to sum up an arithmetic sequence? Well, first of all, I can't sum up a sequence. I can only sum up a series. So right here, let's say I wanted to add up the first 11 terms, because I have 11 terms written here. Well, this is our friend Gauss, who we've talked about over and over again. Gauss said to sum up a series, we simply take how many numbers there are, and we pair them off. And if I know the first term and I know the last term, I can find the sum very easily. So for example here, if I were to add this up, in other words, if I was doing 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11 plus 13 plus 15 plus 17 plus 19 plus 21 plus 23, see, that's the difference between a series and a sequence. A series has plus signs in front of it, in between them. So remember we did Gauss. Gauss said 3 plus 23 is 26. Guess what 5 plus 21 is? 26. Guess what 7 plus 19 is? Oh God, 26. So you get, this is what Gauss said. He said, all right, if I just take the first term and I take the last term, and then, well, how many pairs of numbers are there going to be? Well, I had 11 terms in my sequence, and if I pair them off, that means there are 5.5 pairs. And I can see that. If I kept going here, see, poor 13 has nobody to pair with. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 pairs. Working backwards, I'm going to keep that 11 over 2. 3 plus 23 is 26. Oh my God, I'm going to work with fractions. 2 and 26 reduced to 13. So the sum of this series is 13 times 11. That's 130 plus 13, so that adds up to 143. All right, so now they didn't give us the numbers. We have to find the sequence and the sum of these following clues. The first term is -8. Well, whenever I do these, I like to give myself little spaces. Well, these aren't very straight, but you get the idea. And they tell me the first term is -8. They tell me the common difference is 6, and there are 20 terms. So if I went out 20 spaces, my gosh, that would be forever. Okay, add 6 onto that is -2, add 6 onto that is 4, add 6 onto that is 10, 16, 22, 28, 34, 40, 46, 52. Well, I made the number big on purpose. Because right now we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 terms. This is a sequence. Dot, dot, dot. So if I wanted to sum up the first 20 terms using Gauss's little formula, I run into a bit of a problem. All right, I'm taking the sum, sub 20 of the first 20 terms. So that means 20 terms are going to get paired off. My first term is -8, but what's my last term? Well, I could keep doing this out and find my 20th term. That's an option. Or I can develop an explicit formula. Well, to find any term, I take the first term and add on some differences. In fact, I add on one less than how many terms I'm looking for. Well, I want to find the 20th term, and that's found by taking the first term of -8 and adding on 6 19 times. All right, so the 20th term is -8 plus 60 and 54, which would be 114. So the 20th term is, let's see, 106. Now I can come back over here, put in that nice 106 that I just found. Let's see, -8 plus 106 gives me 98. Times that by 20 over 2, which is really 10. So the sum of the first 20 terms must be 980. Find the sequence and the sum of the following. Well, I'm going to clarify this a little bit. I have to give you a starting point because you're like, well, what term do you want me to start with? So I'm going to clarify this by saying we want to start with the first term and we want to add all the way up to the 12th term and everybody in between. All right, so since I'm asking for the sequence and the sum, I need 12 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, I know the 12th term is negative 29, and the common difference is 3. So that means I added on 3 to get to all of these terms. Well, I could write it out. Let's see. Oh, what did I add 3 onto this to get to negative 29? I must have added on negative 32, negative 35, negative 38, negative 41, negative 44, negative 47, negative 50, negative 53, negative 56, negative 59, and negative 62. That's the sequence. Put commas between them. Now they want me to add up these 12 terms. Oh, Gauss again. To find the sum of these first 12 terms, I have 12 terms that I'm pairing off. The first term is negative 62, and the last term is negative 29. That's 6. Well, negative 62 and negative 29 is, let's see, this is what I think in my head, negative 62, negative 30, negative 92, so that's going to be negative 91. Multiply that out, and that is negative 546. Oh my God, cell phone's ringing, dog lapping water, rough night. All right, we'll work on number 4 tomorrow in class. See you then.